there it is. Lost this one. Just put it in there.
We're here, Eldon.
Do not sneak up on me like that.
What you working on?
Oh, important producer stuff. You wouldn't understand. What do you mean by we're here?
We're here at the location in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, remember?
Oh, right, Lunenburg, yeah. I have no idea what they're talking about.
Home of Canada's most famous tall ship? The Blue Nose.
Oh, what kind of name is that for our most famous ship? The Blue Nose. Like Cold Nose? They could have called it maybe the Chili Honker. Or maybe the Freezing Schnoz. You know, the Blue Nose. It just doesn't have any ring to it.
Actually, Eldon, the Blue Nose is a famous racing schooner and the pride of Nova Scotia. Its picture is on the Canadian dime.
Huh? Oh, yeah. You know, I always thought that meant, Canadians like little sailboats, you know? Like the moose on the quarter.
Not quite.
Hey, what was the moose's name? The Brown Nose? Ah, that's a funny one, huh? Yeah.
Today on CG Kids, we're visiting the old town of Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
It's also famous for its fishing and its shipbuilding.
We're going to sail on the Blue Nose too.
And head out to sea to tag some lobsters.
So drop anchor and stick around. It's all coming up on this episode of CG Kids.
Geographic Kids.
This is beautiful Lunenburg, located on the southern shore of Nova Scotia.
In 1995, Lunenburg was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site because of its cultural importance and architecture.
UNESCO stands for the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. Its purpose is to preserve and protect natural and cultural heritage sites around the world, considered to be of outstanding value to humanity.
Lunenburg was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site because it's the best surviving example of a planned British colonial settlement in North America.
Lunenburg is an ideal port and shipbuilding center because its harbor is ice-free all year round and it has a small tidal range of 1.6 meters. Since it was established in 1753, it has retained its original layout and appearance by preserving the wooden architecture of the houses, some of which date from the 18th century.
St. John's Anglican Church, also a National Historic Site, is one of the oldest structures in Lunenburg, dating back to 1754. It has recently been restored after a devastating fire Halloween night in 2001. You may think a Lunenburg bump sounds a lot like chickenpox, but it's actually a bit of architecture.
These distinctive bumps can be found on homes all over Lunenburg, making the town famous for them. The Lunenburg bump is a second-story windowed dormer. Combined with the town's picturesque location and these brightly painted homes, known as Painted Ladies, Lunenburg has a unique charm.
The Lunenburg Academy is another National Historic Site in the Old Town. The building was completed in November of 1895 and is still used as a school today.
Lunenburg sure does have a lot of history.
And with history usually comes ghosts.
Ghosts don't come out during the day.
Maybe not, but it's not during the day anymore.
How did you?
Isn't television great?
We are in Hillcrest Cemetery in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, and we're about to meet with some locals that are going to tell us some very interesting ghost stories. Eric, Spencer, Lauren, and Victoria, good evening.
Hi, Sydney. I've got some lanterns for you. We're in the cemetery. We need some lights.
So how old is this graveyard anyways?
The town of Lunenburg dates to 1753, and a lot of these stones date to that time period.
What are the tombstones made out of?
The first ones, they would have used blue slate, which is local to the area, wood, naturally, and in later years, wrought iron, granite, marble, and sandstone.
So are there any ghosts here in Lunenburg?
There are all kinds of ghosts in Lunenburg. In fact, we're on Gallows Hill. The academy was built on Gallows Hill. When the grade primary students go to the bathroom in the basement of the academy, they use the buddy system. The bathroom stands where the Boutelier brothers hung, and legend has it every now and then a hand comes up out of the toilet and grabs bad kids.
No. Oh my, that's
That
really
would be
scary.
He's really bad.
So Eric, are there any other local Lunenburg ghost stories?
We have all sorts of wonderful stories. Edna Callback was getting married, and her father needed a wedding gift. So he built her the Boscawen, one of the largest mansions in the town. And apparently, Daddy was rich enough to give the gift, but the new husband wasn't rich enough to keep it. So a few years later, the bank came along and repossessed the Boscawen. And present day is operating as an inn. And every now and then, guests will meet Edna. She has been known to throw dishes, turn lights on and off.
The Boscawen Inn downtown here?
The Boscawen Inn.
The very one we're staying in? Ooh, how spooky!
Well, what room was she staying in?
125.
That's your room! Lunenburg is known for its architecture, its fishing, and its shipbuilding.
But when it comes to Nova Scotia, you can't forget to mention the lobster.
Commercial lobster fishing began in the mid-1800s and has made Nova Scotia one of the most productive fishing areas in the world. Let's hop aboard a traditional working lobster boat and catch some delicious Nova Scotia lobster.
This is what we call a buried female lobster with her eggs. Female lobster can lay 10 to 100,000 eggs. Only 0.1% survives. Carries them under her tail for 9 to 11 months, then she releases them. They float to the surface. While they're on the surface, they'll molt 4 times. Once they reach this stage, they sink back to the bottom. They start out smaller than a mosquito. By the time they're this stage, they're not as big as a dime. A 3-year-old lobster might be that big. These 3 lobsters are on a guy's hand.
3 years old.
That's a 1-pound lobster. That's a 37.5-pound lobster. Well over 100 years old. Probably the size of that tank.
This is our bait. We usually use herring. We use any kind of fish we can get, but fish with a higher oil content works better. Herring is a very high oil content. Put the herring in a little box. The reason why we use the little box, Mr. Seal's really smart. Mr. Seal hears the boat engine. He follows behind us, dives down, reaches into the trap, takes the bait as quick as we can put it on. That's why we put it in the box. Most lobsters approach the trap, never actually enter it. They get discouraged and leave. The few will make their way up this little ramp, up through here, in through the entrance ring, pick a little food out of that box. After they're finished eating, they'll move around. Certainly some will go, but some will make their way up this ramp, through the slotted entrance. They move around the bottom, they move up this way.
Yeah.
They can get back out through here, but they find it difficult. This is what we call the kitchen, this is the parlor. Eat in the kitchen, retire to the parlor.
Yeah. What are some of the things that you've caught in there other than lobsters?
What have we caught?
Yeah.
We've caught starfish, all kinds of shellfish. We've had scallops actually go in the trap. Snow crab, green crab, rock crab. I actually caught a river otter in one time.
Wow.
Whoa.
We'll get them right up pretty well to that notch. Yep. Okay. Right to that knuckle, remember?
Oh,
There you go, turn them. There you go.
Oh, the professional. He's showing me up.
hello.
seconds.
Here we go, here we go, here we go. Up to the knuckle.
Too far.
How far? Too
No!
That little
17
buckle there.
seconds.
Oh, you're missing it.
20.
There you go.
Here we go. Wow!
Boom, 23 seconds flat. Holy huge.
Probably 5 pounds, 20 years old or more.
Wow!
Shake its hand. Quick.
Yeah, I dare ya.
Handshake.
CGK.
I'm gonna tag them. Anything that's under our legal measure size, I'm gonna put a tag in the tail of it so we can tell how far they travel, how much they grow. I'm
Wow.
gonna put them in the water, Connor.
And how far do you find these guys traveling?
15, 20 miles. They do go farther. That's the farthest we've had one recorded, 15 miles or something. Also, the female will have a wider tail for carrying her eggs. The male will have bigger claws. They have a scissor claw and a crusher claw. This one's really powerful. This one they're really fast with. Grab stuff and hold it with this, tear it apart with this. I guarantee you nobody here can take the bite of that lobster. It's unbelievable. If he closes his claw, I can't open it.
Lobsters can have the crusher claw on either the right or the left. So just like humans, who can be left-handed or right-handed, lobsters can be left-clawed or right-clawed.
Whee!
This guy's doing the ab crunchers.
Wow!
How much did you get that?
I would say that's a good strong
I
8.
freed him.
You know.
Bye, CG Kids! It's time for Triviography.
Today's question is, what is aquaculture?
Here's a hint. It's not a word that describes how marine life relate to each other. What are you doing?
Shh. Anthropology. I'm trying to study the small marine life in their own environment, get a sense of their aquaculture. And it isn't a way to improve the interior of a fish's home.
I think this aquarium needs a little something, don't you? Feng shui underwater. All this place really needs is a little aquaculture, if you know what I mean.
So what does aquaculture mean?
We'll tell you later in the show.
Lunenburg has an old tradition of shipbuilding.
We are here at the Fisheries Museum of the Atlantic to learn all about it. From Ralph and Courtney. Hi, you guys.
Hey guys.
Hi, Sid and Edie.
So how long has shipbuilding been going on here?
The town was founded in 1753, and 6 months after the founding, they had their first shipyard. The sea was the highway. That's the way you were going to get anywhere. The people came here to farm, but within a generation turned to the sea and fishing. We actually have a boat under construction down in our boat shop. Would you like to take a look?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. So how long have you been building this boat?
Since 2002. We laid the keel in that year, in September, and we've been working on it ever since. A sort of a slow project, I guess you'd call it.
And when do you plan on being finished?
Next summer, July the 23rd, the museum's birthday, 2005. We plan to have a special ceremony, take her out of the building, put her on the launchways, christen it, and send it into the waters of Lunenburg Harbor.
And are you building the boat the way that they would have built it in the past?
Using the traditional methods, the traditional wood, we have cheated a little. We've used stainless steel fastenings instead of galvanized nails, which will rust. We want it to last a long time. But it's the same as they would have built a vessel from the keel up. The keel, the ribs, the planking, the decking.
So what's all this cloth hanging out the sides here?
Well, that's cotton wicking, and that's used for caulking between the seams of the planks. You drive that in, it swells up in the seawater, and it makes a watertight seal so the vessel doesn't leak.
It's a fantastic boat.
Great looking craft.
A schooner is also sometimes called a clipper, named after the phrase meaning to move quickly, or clip along.
So what are some of the superstitions involved in a boat launch?
Well, one of the superstitions was they would never say the word P-I-G, because the P-I-G could smell the wind. And they were afraid that if someone said the word P-I-G, the boat would run into a storm and sink.
But could you make the sound?
That I'm not sure of. It was before my time.
Okay.
Not that old. Another superstition was they always carried horseshoes, but they could never tip it over because they were afraid the luck would fall out. So if I flipped this over, suddenly I'd become unlucky. Something you would never do.
All right.
Another superstition was they would never want to flip anything over, like when they were taking the hatches off. They would just move it to the side and lay it down, because if they flipped something over, they were afraid that the boat would flip over and sink.
Wow. Well, I feel a little bit more boat-worthy now.
Yeah.
So can we try launching the boat?
You most certainly can. I'll have you to be the harbor master, go down to the back end of the tank and catch the model as it comes out into the harbor. At the appointed time when the tide was the highest that it could possibly be, and the christening party would get aboard, they generally had a man of the cloth, someone to bless the vessel, and they said that they would bless the ship and all who sailed in her, and they would read a prayer, and then whoever was designated to do the christening would do the next part, and that was the breaking of the bottle. That always took place just as the vessel went into the waters of Lunenburg Harbor, and they would step forward just as it was going down the ways, reach over the side, crack the bottle over the hull, and of course the champagne drizzled down over the side, and it was well and truly christened. Those are the final things holding the sliding ways to the ground ways, and the command is going to be given to knock down. Yeah!
Oh, it's Eldon calling. Hey, Eldon.
What do you think? Looks good, huh?
What looks good?
My profile. You see, it's not fair that the boat in Lunenburg, the Blue Nose, can have its picture on all the dimes. I want my picture on the dimes.
You want to replace the Blue Nose on the dime?
No. No, that's our famous boat, the pride of Nova Scotia, blah, blah, blah. I'll just replace the lady on the other side.
You mean Queen Elizabeth II?
Yes. And get this, okay? Get this. There's the Looney, and there's the Toonie. Well, my dime will be called the LD. Huh? That's a great idea.
Hey, it's an LD for good luck.
It's only a loony. What? Why, that's just 10 LDs. What a deal. I'm gonna get one.
I am brilliant.
You're something, all right.
Ralph, where did the name Blue Nose come from?
Well, it's been a term to describe Nova Scotians used since the late 1700s. Of course, the Nova Scotians were mariners, quite often out on cold weather. Today's not a very good example, but if they were out on the water in cold weather, they got blue noses. Another reason for the term is that we used to export a blue-skin potato, a type called McIntyre Blue. We used to send a lot of those to the U.S., and they used to make a lot of fun of us with these blue-skin potatoes. So it's been a term to describe Nova Scotians used for many, many years.
Right now we're on the Blue Nose 2. What happened to the original Blue Nose?
Well, the original Blue Nose was sold from here in 1942 and was used as an inter-island trader in the West Indies. Used to carry freight of everything from coconuts, rum, dynamite, molasses, and while entering a port off the south coast of Haiti in January of 1946, at night during a storm, it ran on a coral reef and was a total loss. It was on the reef for about 3 days, broke up, and sank into deeper water. The crew, however, were saved.
So why did they decide to build a second Blue Nose?
The great interest in Blue Nose after the original was gone, they thought that would be it. But more and more people came to town wanting to find out the story of Blue Nose, wanting to see the people who'd sailed it. And in 1963, they decided to build a replica. Captain Angus Walters, master of the original Blue Nose, was actually drove the ceremonial keel bolt in the keel of this vessel when it was laid, and he sailed on the maiden voyage.
Why is the blue nose considered to be of historical significance?
Well, Bluenose brought a lot of fame to Canada with its racing career against the Americans in the International Fisherman's Race Series. And she never lost a race in that series, beat the best that the United States could send up here.
The Bluenose first appeared on a Canadian 50-cent stamp in 1929 and has been on the Canadian dime since 1937. So was this boat built for working?
Yes. Well, no, not this one, but the original Blue Nose. It was, in order to qualify for the race, it had to have one full season of fishing on the Grand Banks. So it was fishing on the Grand Banks, bring it in, came to the fish factory, which is now the Fisheries Museum, and then it raced and won just about every race, and now it's on the dime.
Isn't that pretty?
Yep. Everyone's got a picture.
Is this Bluenose 2, is it as fast as the original Bluenose?
Well, it's only been raced once, but yes, it is. If it was officially racing, yes, it probably would do the same as the original one. There's an old tradition that if you weren't getting enough wind, like today, they'd just throw a penny in and wind would come. Like the tradition was, King Neptune would be happy because of the money he's getting. He'd fill his treasure chest up, and then the wind gods would just blow. Give me wind.
And more wind.
No! You don't want to have a typhoon. You're gonna flip it over. Oh well. More wind.
Ralph, Courtney, thanks for showing us around the museum and taking us out on the Blue Nose. It was awesome.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Oh, thanks for coming.
No problem.
It's time to answer today's Triviography questions.
Today's question is, what is aquaculture?
Aquaculture is an important part of fisheries today. It's when fish, marine life, and marine plants are farmed under controlled conditions.
It's also called aquafarming, which includes fish farms.
CG Kids is on the World Wide Web. Find out even more about all the incredible places that we visit on CG Kids. Just click on our website to find games, contests, and a lot more fun facts about our amazing country. Check it out. For a quiet little town, Lunenburg sure does have a lot going on.
It's been a busy trip. I wonder what Eldon's been up to.
Hello? The Canadian Mint? Yes, I want to talk to you about a new design for the Canadian 10-cent coin. Okay? It's called the LD. Alright? I'll fax my picture to you. I've got a great profile, okay? And make sure you spell my name correctly when you put it on the dime. Okay? It's Eldon, E-L-D-O-N, last name H... he must have dropped the phone. Again. For the third time. Okay, I'll go back.